Hello, everybody. Another episode of Momentum Update here. I'm Bruce Breedlove, the brand ambassador for Momentum. And today, once again, I have Jon Brooks here, the co-founder of Momentum. Tell us about you, Jon.
Yeah, so Bruce, thanks for having me on. 4 to 5 years ago, I was flat broke, moved to Jacksonville, Florida from Washington, D.C., was an investment banker, quit my job because I had a bad experience when I purchased my first home, got my real estate license. My first year, I sold 66 homes. My second year, I sold 74 homes. In my third year, I sold 143 homes. I was on stage in front of tens of thousands of people. I've been a coach for real estate agents across the country. And I'm so grateful for the journey that we've gone on. And then we were able to build our own platform, Momentum Realty, and I co-founded that. I'm also an investor. We have real estate rental properties. We help our agents invest. And now I'm also a marketing manager of a loan branch, and that is my formal role. And I also help agents achieve their goals as more of like a coach and consultant for Momentum Realty, which has been super rewarding. So the story continues to move forward. So Bruce, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And what the agents that have joined Momentum so far have achieved in such a short period of time is amazing. So let's get right to the subject of today's episode, which is what really matters in a brokerage, right? So guys, part of my role is being the front end, first point of contact. When you want to join Momentum, you have a conversation with me, okay? So I hear a lot about what other brokerages offer. And, I discussed with Jon and our broker owner, Brittany, about what I hear. So Jon, I know you have a long list of things that we've heard and we've encountered in these recruiting conversations. So what really matters in a brokerage, in your opinion?
Yeah. And Bruce, thanks for that, man. You've been working your butt off, and I know everyone in this who's watching or listening to this has probably got at least 100 emails from you in their email inbox.
So sorry.
So you can now have a face with the name. So thank you, Bruce. And then so like when we were thinking about doing this podcast, there's just a lot of misconceptions of what is value and what is not value for a brokerage. And we were like, you know what? Let's do a podcast and share people with what we offer as a brand through Momentum that my wife owns, and Bruce, you manage the marketing for. What do we offer? And I don't think that's the right question. I think what is valuable to the real estate agent to perform at the highest level possible so they can hit their financial goals. That is the right question. And I think that a lot of us are stuck in these really low level conversations about things that will not move their business forward. And
why is that? Why are so many agents stuck on that? Why do you, I know why I think that, but why do you think that?
I think they don't know. I mean, so when you really think about an agent, when they're coming into the industry, they're coming from all different walks of life, all different levels of education, all different levels of experience, and they're coming into a field that has no barrier to entry. And that's okay. And there's no judgment around that. But that means that, they don't know what to ask. They don't know what getting into real estate sales really means, which honestly is lead generation. And people don't like hearing that. They think they either come in because they want an unlimited potential for income, or they want what's called a flexible life, which you can have in real estate, but it's not going to start that way because you don't have the income to leverage out the activities that keep your business consistent. So there is a way to do it. We know how to do it. We've done it ourselves. We want to help others do it too. But yeah, there's a very big misconception of what actually matters in the brokerage world for real estate agents in their business.
So when these agents are coming on from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all education levels, like you said, what I've seen is that they are, in these conversations that I have with them, they're regurgitating what was told to them by their brokerage that they've joined. That is what's important, right? So this
technology
app, this app that gives, and I always say, when they say, well, we have this great app, and I always said, okay, is it out yet? Well, does it work? How many leads have you gotten from it? 0. So I'm like you said, lead generation is the most important thing, because those are your customers. Right? So it is mind blowing when the first thing, when I ask like, what's value about your brokerage? It's not like I'm growing, my business is growing, my bank account is growing. Like it's all these things, these shiny objects like you talk about that people say matter that do not.
Yeah, so I can give you an example. I made a list here, Bruce, because it's interesting. In our role, in your role, and Brittany's role, is to elevate the level of conversation from stuff that does not matter, that is not a primary variable for someone to live a big life, to focusing on the variables that really do matter. So agents might ask, like the simple question, do you provide leads? Okay, that's the wrong question. I can get to this and I can explain this more. Do you have an IDX website?
Yep.
Is a common question.
I get that all the time. Yeah.
What is the commission split? It is important for your financial model to understand what your amount will be, but you want to make sure it's not about the split. It's about the value that you get for the split and what you're actually going to use. So like, that's a really important question. Oh gosh, dude, I have so many. Do you have any other silly one? Like, and they're not silly, they're valid questions. They just don't.
What CRM do you use? I
Yeah.
get that a lot. Yeah.
So the funny thing about the CRM is all the companies are building the same thing, okay? And most of the technology already exists. The brokerage Momentum encourages agents to use Follow Up Boss, which is $40 a month. It's actually $37 a month. Momentum has like a 60% discount. I don't know any other CRM that is cheaper and has more functionality, has a dialer built into it. So like, that's a $40 a month conversation. Do you really want to be having a $40 a month conversation when you're talking about your business and your dreams and your goals? So other things. So here's some questions. Instead of asking about the base level low cost, or hey Bruce, do we have printing at the office? That's the wrong question. That you're working with top performers at Momentum. Here's the questions to ask. All right, I wrote some questions down. Who is the most valid person in your brokerage?
Ooh.
Who is the most valid person? And by validity means that they actually walk the walk, don't just talk the talk, because a lot of agents on social media share that they do. You'd imagine that they sell hundreds of homes per year, and then you look them up in broker metrics and they sell 10.
Yeah,
And
that's mind blowing. For me, that was the thing coming into this industry. The thing that was so mind blowing to me is the vanity of it all. And what really matters is people's bank accounts, and they're empty because it's all fake. So to asking that question, who is valid, is so important, because who are you learning from then? If there's nobody valid where you are, who are you learning from? You're learning from someone who has never done it. And then you're learning from someone who's just good at making it look like they're doing stuff. You know?
It's interesting, and it's not just real estate, man. It's just like every industry. People inflate what they do. They inflate their contribution, and I don't think they mean to do it. They're just taught to repeat and send that out, but everyone can see through it. We know it's the same house that you posted last week. Why don't you share real wins? Why are we always sharing the wins and never the struggles, right? It's just an ego inflation. So who's the most valid person? How many valid people do you have in your brokerage? That's a really good one, right? Like, who are you going to learn from at your brokerage who has done what you want to do and has accomplished what you want to accomplish? I mean, if you have, 100 agents at a brokerage and none of them are millionaires, and you've been open for 10 to 15 years, that's something to consider. Like, you really need to interview and say, who's your top performers? How did they become top performers? Did they become a top performer through the brokerage? Was it something that the brokerage provided that caused them to be a top performer? Or would they have been a top performer anywhere, right? That's the question. What's their net worth? How much annuity income are they having from their investment properties? What is their lifestyle like, right? Because if you have a lot of money but a crappy lifestyle, you're not really living anything. So that's another thing to look at. Like, do they still love what they do? Does the broker maximize what they do and help them think differently than what they're currently doing? How is the brokerage helping them grow? So that's the kind of questions that we are having. And it's not about, where's my CRM? Which one's the best CRM? Do you have an IDX website? Where can I print this? Do you have office space? Like, mostly everything's going to go virtual anyway, guys. I understand you can get together at like a like a Panera or like a shared co-work space, and like the office doesn't provide, most top performers don't even go to the office anymore. They're usually out serving clients, obviously.
Yeah.
So the main question to ask, who can I become so people will want to come to me for real estate service? Because that's, forget the online lead question. Who do I have to become for to come and work with me in providing real estate services? Do you see how the different, like, your level of thinking is just completely different? Can you give me something? Can you give me leads? That's victim and scarcity mindset with lack of ownership, versus who do I need to come for the leads? Who do I need to become for the leads to come to me?
Yeah.
All right. So we have ideas on that. You can become a local economist of choice. You can become a celebrity in your area. There's 100 other ways to do it other than online leads. And I can tell you this, Momentum and its leadership does buy a lot of online leads, probably about $70,000 a month total with its agents.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that does boost the business. But again, the goal of a real estate agent is to build a database. That is the one asset that you have. So if you do a lot of online leads, you don't provide 5-star service, then you're on the treadmill. So you need to find a way to provide 5-star service and then apply a touch program so you can consistently generate referrals. Like, for example, if you're a restaurant and you never had any repeat customers, would you be in business long? No. Okay, so now we're getting to real conversations that are valid questions, and they're business relation questions. They're not basic technical questions. Do you see what I'm saying, Bruce?
So a lot to unpack, but how do you become the person that knows the right questions to ask? Because what we're saying here is that it's common to have low-level questions and be focused on the wrong thing. But so for someone that's watching this, what's step one that they can take right now to start learning, like, okay, this is what I need to ask. I'm missing the forest for the trees here. How do I become that person right now, today?
Don't accept anything that you see on social media and double check validity. So number one is check validity on every person you get advice from. Number one. Number two, spend your time only with people who are valid, right? That might mean getting a new tribe.
Yep.
You need to be around different people. Number three, read new books. I know a lot of people are busy, don't read. Wake up earlier. I don't care. Like, get it done. This is your business life. You've got one life, and it's your time to maximize it as much as you can. And if you're running a business and you're going willy-nilly around town with no strategies and systems or people to help mentor you into success because they're not valid themselves, you're just spinning your wheels. Well, now you have a platform that Brittany co-founded, I co-founded, and you're a big part of, and we're like, it works and it makes sense. So like, that's something that we're working on every single day is how do we create more validity through the agents and share their success stories so people can see, hey, there's a different way. You don't need to go to a training and be taught by somebody who has never done it themselves and they're reading from a textbook. You don't need to pay 36% of your commission to other big box brokerages for stuff that's like, I will provide you marketing materials. I will provide you a printer. I will provide, like, that's a lot of money. You actually, if you calculated it out, like, or I'll provide you the CRM, it's probably 5% of your total commission dollars, but they're charging you 36% of it. Right? So like, is what they're offering valid in the math of what they're actually giving to you and what they're profiting off of it just for setting it up for you?
The most expensive print job you've ever done in your life. It cost me $21,000 to print these pieces of paper. I
know this, Bruce, because I went through it myself. I was at a brokerage where I paid my broker $44,000 my first year, and I had no training, no support. I was constantly asking questions, and there was no one in the office. I quickly became the top producer, sold 12 mil, 66 units my first year, and I had no one left to learn from. And so you had to go out into different markets to get people who are doing more to learn from if you wanted to continue growth, because you're going to cap out at where the people you surround yourself with cap out at. Like, it's very rare for someone to go, there's a system of like, you come in here, someone's up here, but if you come in right here and then you have 3 or 4 people down here, they're just going to keep you, from growing and continuing to move up in the world.
Yeah, you're not going to go up. You're going to either stay stagnant or go down. So what you can do right now to change your mindset and elevate your business, check the validity of the information you're getting. Get a new tribe. You are the result of the 5 people you spend your most time with, right? Read new books. So expanding that out is seeking new information from people who have done it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a book, but certainly that's a wealth there. But like getting new information that elevates your thinking and expands your expertise in general, right? So that's what you can do today to change your life and your business. So how does momentum do all those things as a brokerage? Because we're talking about what's important. So, and joining momentum, we get those things. You get those things as an agent, but tell me how our brokerage does those 3 things.
Well, I mean, the first thing is validity, right? So follow the model that we just taught. I came in, sold 66 units my first year, sold 74 my second year, 20 mil the second year, 36 mil, brought Brittany in, did 36 mil with 2 people and a little bit of the admin support. For 143 units. So that's validity. We became net worth millionaires in 3.5 years. We buy rental properties. We know how to rent them out. We know how to buy property at foreclosure auction. We have other ancillary businesses that we're building. Like we know how to hire people. We know how to train people, like, right? So like we have validity. So you need to check the leadership's validity. Are they just an MBA out of college that is doing this on a salary? What is the reason that the leadership is doing it? Right? Like ask for their mission. Like, why is that specific person that is telling me they're going to help me from point A to point B going to be able to do that? So check validity. Then you need to check validity of the people in the tribe, right? So if like the leader's really good, but nobody around them is having massive success, then obviously that's a tribe that is not growing, or there's miscommunication, or there's not communal wisdom that's trickling down from leadership to them. So then you need to check the validity of the tribe. So again, it's just following that process of figuring out like what new resources am I going to have to make me think differently? And that goes back to your original question. Who is going to help me think differently and change my perspective on how things can be done so I can grow faster? Because we were having this conversation the other day, like you don't need 10,000 hours if you're around a bunch of brilliant people. You don't need to put 10,000 hours in to become an expert at something. If you hang out with brilliant people all day who are doing bigger and better and amazing things around you, your energy is going to be higher. You're going to come in and you're going to kick butt. I mean, we had one agent last year that did 4 mil in sales, and she nearly made as much profit in 1 month as she did the whole prior year. And she's been in business for 5 years because she implements exactly what Brittany and Momentum is teaching their agents, and she implemented it quick, right? And the third thing is your tribe that you get in, it should be accountable, right? Like there should be other people who want you to be accountable to reaching your goals, which is a really neat thing that Momentum has set up, is little accountability groups. So that way people stay on track and they're networking with other top agents who are going through the same struggles. So you don't have to make the same exact mistakes that the people made before you. You can learn from the other people, and then if it builds community. And I know we're not in person, but man, Zoom is awesome, man. This tribe is probably tighter than people that meet like every single day, and it's more efficient.
I was going to say that the feeling of the community that we have is not lost on not being able to be physically together. Jon, we haven't met 30, 40, 50% of the people that we're in business with, but we know them because we're talking to them constantly.
I know their kids' names. I talk to them about the family. Well, because when an agent comes in, the first conversation isn't what CRM am I going to use? What is this? The base level conversations that agents should really be figuring out for themselves, and like is not the right conversation. It's what is my business plan? What are my top 3 lead sources? What has worked for me in the past? Where do I want to be in 3 years? What is my lifestyle going to be like, right? Choosing between buyers and sellers. Do I love working with buyers or sellers, or different personality types, right? So like, these are like higher level conversations. What are my strengths individually as an agent, and how do I use my strengths to maximize the activities that I'm going to do? Because if I don't like doing the activity, I'm not going to do it consistently. So these are all things that like I don't see the other brokerages out here doing at a very, very, very high level. and actually holding their agents accountable to it, right? Because there might be some other people who are like, well, I did a disc test, I did this kind of test, blah, 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 blah. But like, who's actually out there being like, hey, you said this, like, like following up with you to make sure you're doing what you share.
Yeah, that's the tribe aspect that Momentum offers, is that accountability. So that's number 2, the tribe. It's not only being surrounded by people that elevate you, it's them holding you accountable for your own actions and wanting results for you, because they care about you, and that they know that they're going to need you one day, and you're going to teach them something they didn't know. So that's what's going on constantly at this brokerage at Momentum, is these guys jump into this community and boom, everybody's elevated. And we're not even in person. So to speak to that point, I had a conversation with an agent who was at a brokerage, reached out, or I don't even remember how I got his information. The conversation that we had surrounded the office culture where he is currently at. Okay. So, I'm really good friends with everybody at the office. It's a great culture. And I said, well, like, how much business have you done? I did 3 deals in the last year. And I'm just like, okay. So again,
culture of non-producers.
Exactly. They may be your friends, but it's a distraction because you're not getting anything done. So
on that point, hold up, Bruce. Let me put on this. Like, when you are working, you are at work. When you're a real estate agent, you are an entrepreneur and you're running a business. When you walk in that door or you get up and it's business time, it's time to make money. Okay. It is so much more fun working when you're profitable, right? So if you're around people and you're not making the money you want to make, like, something's got to change. And if you're just hanging out with people all day, go to the bar, go celebrate your wins. Go do that on the weekend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're working, you're working. When you're on leisure time, you're on leisure time. But when you mix the two in terms of a brokerage, it's a formula for failure. Yep. And it's unfocusing. And I don't think it's very, that's why, by the way, I think our virtual platform is really good, because when we're on these calls and we're learning, we're focused, we're intentional, we have a plan, we start at a certain time, we end at a certain time, people get exactly what they need to go, and then boom, they're off to the races. And that's why it's the level of focus. And if you're around people that don't have a level of focus, it's time to explore your options, because if you're not hitting your financial goals, something's got to change. And the number one thing is changing the people you're around. Yeah.
So, we had this conversation the other day preparing for this, but I get fired up because there's everybody's that I speak to, and I'm speaking generally, is just focused on the wrong things. On the wrong things. Like, I've moved twice in my career. I don't want to be seen as a hopper. But what's your bank account look like? I'm loyal to this brokerage. They helped me out one time, but can you go to the grocery store and pay with that loyalty that they gave you 3 years ago? The community is great, but you're not producing. They have an app. None of that matters. None of that matters. None of it matters. Get somewhere where you grow and you achieve. That's it. Or you're focused on the wrong things and you're not going to be successful. Like, what's the long-term goal? So our mission at Momentum is to help our community build wealth through real estate. Is that happening? How are we learning to do that from our leaders that have the validity because they've done it? That should be the end of the conversation. Like, I want to join because I want to follow in those footsteps. So like, how do we as a brokerage get this message out and help change people's mindsets and attract the top producers? Like, what do you see happening in the market that in our market that is going to attract people to us? Like, what's going forward? What's going to happen?
I mean, at the end of the day, the agents just need to see where all the success is occurring. If there's another brokerage out there that's having massive success with its agents just from them switching brokerages and getting into a new tribe, you should probably check it out and see, like, is this valid, and start asking questions. I mean, I don't blame the agents, right? Again, we just talked about a different level of experience, different level of education. They don't know. Like, all they know is like what they think they're supposed to ask based on what their friend told them. And by the way, I was the same freaking agent. I didn't even know. Like, you are so brand new. You don't know. Maybe you're experienced and you've been in it for 5 years, but you've never really had your business take off. Like, you don't really know the questions to ask. And I think, like, literally listening to this conversation is the start of that, and saying, hey, let's focus off of the really silly stuff. Like, it doesn't matter which system you use. It matters that you follow up consistently. It doesn't matter which, we're like arguing about this. It's like, well, the real issue is like follow up. So like, do whatever you can to follow up. The system that you use to do it, like, they all do the same freaking thing. Just like focusing on what the root issue is and the root activity it is to move the ball forward, I think, is the most important thing. And it's not fair, because there's no podcast or group out there that's saying like, these are the primary variables, and now we've shared them with you, so now you can think about that. Maybe you're like, you know what, these guys are out of their mind, they're psychos. But guess what? Like, we're crazy and we're dreaming big, and we want other people to accomplish their goals and build wealth through real estate. And if that is what you want, it can't hurt to have a conversation. Bruce isn't going to bite if you call Bruce. By the way, Bruce just bought a house last week and made his primary an investment property. And now he's cash flowing around $600 a month to go to his new house. And he's not even an agent, and he doesn't have that high level of unlimited income potential that you have as an agent. And he's doing it based off of what was learned through momentum and his association with other people who are doing investments. So, that's crazy. And if you don't have people around you who are doing those type of things and actually taking action, it's time to really think about where you want to land your career in the real estate world.
Yeah, so it's not just you two. I've done it too, and it's like you said, it's the knowledge that I've gained being a part of all this, and it's just a matter of time before we see more success stories of the agents doing it. I mean, we've been open 6 months. A lot of our producers have been with us for 3 or 4 months. They're just having their first closings, but the stories that are going to happen the rest of the year are going to be just massive.
Yeah, every day I get a text saying this has changed my life.
Yep.
And thank you. Or this changed something that happened with my family. Something that you shared with me was I was a real estate coach, and a lot of the times the lifestyle of real estate doesn't work with people's families very well, because it is time demanding, which obviously there's systems and scripts that we have around that can resolve it. But also going with grace to your family and asking them for permission to understand that you are growing a new business, and you need their buy-in to encourage you when things are hard versus bringing you down. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, that's a big conversation, like just getting people to back you on your entrepreneurial journey and understand, like, in 3 to 5 years, mom or dad's not going to have to work that hard, because I know if I get this amount of money, like, let's make these next 3 years like the crunch time to make all this wealth, make investments, get annuity income, so I don't have to be out there all the time, and we can go on that family vacation that we want because now we have money, right? It's bigger than just selling real estate. It's about you and your family's financial journey and your lifestyle, and we know how to do it. And we want to help other people know how to do it too. So this is much bigger than just a conversation of how do I get my next lead? How do I sell more houses? This is more of living a life holistic. Yep. Yes.
Yep. Your big life journey. So John, do you have anything to add before we close out here, man?
I think that's enough for today, Bruce. I'm excited to do the next one, and hang with us. And what I would encourage is just start, even if it's not us, we want everyone to win. We are broker agnostic. So we connect with agents who are not with momentum. We just think that we are tired of seeing agents who are working so hard and making nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's between splits, that's between taxes, that's between running the business backwards because they're not tracking their financials, and they work so hard and they're amazing people. And if they just had someone on the other side give them a little bit of guidance or a little bit of push or a little bit of tribal accountability, I think that would really go a long way for people. And it's about the micro tweaks to your business, and everyone moves at a different pace. We don't judge that. I just would say, like, reach out to somebody who is at a higher level than you that has validity and start a conversation. Don't be annoying about it. Be very specific and really think about what you want, where you want to be in 5 years from now, and then go and find those people who are there and connect with them. Be kind to them. Ask them for permission to reach out. Give them a thank you letter after you do it about what you learned, right? Debrief with them. People who are ahead of you love helping up the new crop if it's the right coach or the right individual that's really going to mentor you. Go get your mentor now. Don't wait. Life is too short. It's too short. It is. And you need to maximize the time while you're here. Like, get off the couch, turn off Netflix, make a phone call, and make a change.
Yep. And then see where it goes. But pick the right person to do so. Thank you, man, for this. What an awesome conversation. And if this just changes one person's mindset or gets them connected with someone who's going to change their life, then it's worth it. Right?
Yep. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks a lot.